All right, folks, it's a snow day here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And when I mean snow day, I mean there is zero snow on the ground. Yet all of our kids were out of school today, all four of those kids, which I love with all my heart. Yet I am so ready for them to go back to school because they are annoying, just like your children are probably annoying at times. But I got a true story for you today. True story, because I am a petri dish for this stuff that we're talking about, because my kids are involved with all of these different sporting events. We do have boundaries. We're not over the top when it comes to this, but I was at I think it was like a first and second grade basketball game this weekend, and here is the scenario. You ready? Here's the scenario. It's tournament time. All right, tournament time, K through 2 basketball. It's a big deal. ESPN, Fox News, all the different people are there. Filming this game, not really, but there's a lot of overzealous parents there and a lot of coaches that have invested time, and we're grateful for those coaches. Although we don't always agree with them, we're grateful for those coaches in their life because those little dudes are annoying at times to coach. So we're at this game, semifinals. Our game had finished. I'm watching this other game. There's about a minute and a half left, and because of the rules, the coach from the opposing team decides, hey, we're not going to take it across half court. We're going to really take our time before we go across the half court line, because in this league, you can't press and you can't go get the ball if it doesn't cross half court. So since that team was up by 6 and now the other team did not have a chance to defend and steal the ball away, it got what I would say is a little heated in the old elementary gym that day. Not over the top, but it was heated. It was frustrating. And I get the frustration. I totally get the frustration. But a lot of frustration happened, and, that people were asking me questions. What do you think? All this. So I began to really kind of collect my thoughts and go, okay, what do you do in the event or in a situation where you're kind of faced with some unfavorable circumstances? Do I agree in the K2 basketball championship? Should you have done that? I don't know. It is what it is. I don't think it affected the outcome of the game. I probably think it was a little tacky, but it is what it is. So here's the deal. I got 2 things for you. If you're a parent and you have frustration just like me, because I get frustrated too. You have frustration just like me, and you watch these things, but you want to keep them in check, because here's what we don't want to do. We don't want to ruin our reputation and our character over something that's silly and is not going to matter in the long run. And fortunately, there were unbelievable people there that day, and that was not the case. But it could have easily gone there had it been a different situation. So I'm going to give you 2 things that I think you can keep on the forefront of your mind as you are going on this journey we call sport. And here's the first thing. When I'm faced with unfavorable conditions, all right, maybe the opposing coach does something or the opposing coach says something, here's what I always ask. And I thought of this because of the situation that happened the other day. And so here's the first question you got to ask yourself. One is, what the opposing team doing, or what is that, or if that it's an individual sport or whatever, is what they are doing illegal? All right, is what they are doing illegal? If it's illegal, then we have a right to respond, not in a negative way or a crazy way, but we do have a right to bring it to attention. Hopefully the coach does that, whatever. But the first question we need to ask, is it illegal? Because although we don't like it, if it's not illegal, we really just have to suck it up and take it, because that's just the way it is right now. And I'm not saying you should never get heated and excited about what's going on. A lot of times those emotions can be good. They can elicit change and things like that. We just need to make sure we're being professional about how we do that. So the first question you got to ask yourself is, what this team or this individual doing, is it illegal? Listen, I coach wrestling my whole life. I've been involved in wrestling. I've seen a lot of moms go crazy because it looks like their son is getting their arm ripped off. It is not easy to watch your son get almost physically abused by another child that's the same size, whatever. But if it's not illegal, it's just kind of part of it. Either don't let your kid participate, or you're going to have to bite your tongue, swallow your pride and know that your kid is going to survive. So the first thing is it illegal? If it's not illegal, here's what you do. Turn the volume down a little bit. All right, just turn the volume down. You're frustrated, turn the volume down. Here's the second thing. First question, is it illegal? Second question is this. This is big. How would you be responding if it was your team or your child that was doing it? How would you be responding if it was your team or your child doing it? Because if your response would be completely different, then here's what you have to do again. Turn the volume down. You're frustrated, but you're frustrated probably over things, bigger things than just this instance that's happening right now. You're probably frustrated you're losing. You're probably frustrated your kid's not playing good. You're probably frustrated all these different things. So you turn the volume up, and then all these negative emotions begin to come out, because I have seen it 100 times. I've seen it in sport where you have a parent or a coach yelling a certain thing, like, that's awful, I can't believe that. And then in the next 24-hour time frame, their team or their child is doing the exact same thing, and they're completely silent. So when we're in those what I would call unfavorable situations or scenarios as we go on this sport journey, we have to take a time out. We have to ask ourselves, one, is this illegal? If it's not illegal, turn the volume down. It's going to be okay. I promise you it's going to be okay. Every kid that played this past weekend, they all went to like Chick-fil-A and hung out the rest of the day. It's no big deal. It was totally okay. The second thing is if that were my team and they were doing that, would I be as frustrated? And if the answer is no, here's what you do. You grab that radio knob and you turn that volume down. Because when the volume goes up, here's what happens. We can begin to do, say, and act in a way that's not indicative of who we really are. And we want to protect, not only for ourselves, but we want to protect our character, our reputation, our testimony for who we are as people. We want to protect that in front of our children, because they're watching how we respond in those situations. Here's the second thing, and this was another issue that took place that I was actually talking about this one, and this one was brought up. Hey, Bear Stevens. But this one was brought up. But like two adults in an altercation because of something that happened with two children. Okay, two adults in an altercation because of what happened between two kids. So let me give you some advice there. And I coach the sport of wrestling, man. You want to talk about seeing your hey, Steve Tyson, appreciate you. You want to talk about your emotions and your, anger going through the roof when you're watching your son or daughter get whipped in a wrestling match. I mean, it is not easy to watch, but you got to keep those things in check. So here's the thing. When kids are in an altercation, they're going to get it. They're going to start fouling each other. They're going to say things to each other, things like that. Here's what you got to set some boundaries here. And here's the first boundary. Let kids settle kid issues. All right? On this athletic journey, when things are taking place on the court, on the field, whatever, you've got to let kids settle kid issues. The mom coming out of the stands does nothing but hurt the situation. The dad coming out of the stands doesn't do anything but hurt the situation. If you have two 8-year-olds that are fouling each other and they get in a scuffle, let the two 8-year-olds figure it out with the ref there, whatever. They will live. I promise you, no one is going to get harmed that bad. They may even get a black eye. All right? All us adults, we say, oh, kids today, they're not as tough because we don't let them do this. All right, when they do it, sit down, be quiet, let it work itself out. All right? So in the heat of the moment, in these unfavorable situations, let kids settle kid issues. And then here's a reminder, okay, as we go to these sport events and all this, and trust me, I know I have said and done some really, really stupid things. Fortunately, I've gotten better because I've watched and I've paid attention and I've realized it doesn't do much good. But here's the second thing. When you go to these sporting events are taking place and it gets heated, unfavorable conditions or whatever, here's what you got to realize. If you want adult privileges, you need to accept adult responsibilities. If you want adult privileges, then you need to be willing to accept adult responsibilities. So when you and I walk into a youth, middle school, high school, even an NCAA college event, here's what we're saying. We are here as adults to watch these young people play and participate and compete and give their best and all these different things. And if we want those adult privileges, then we have to be willing to accept the adult responsibilities. And the adult responsibilities are this. The adult responsibilities are this. When unfavorable conditions present themselves that bother us, here's what we got to do. We got to ask, is it illegal? If it's not, turn the volume down. Here's the second thing. How would you be responding if it was your team or your child doing that same thing? How would you respond if it was your team or your child doing that same thing? If your response would be completely different, then here's what you do. Grab the knob, turn the volume down. That knob is somewhere in here. I don't know, right on my bald spot right here. Turn the knob, turn the volume down. Here's the last thing. Let kids settle kid issues. It is never, ever, listen to me, ever times 1,000. It is never, ever worth an adult coming out of the stand, saying something to another kid, getting into it with another dad. We all love our children. They're so precious and they're so cute. They're all annoying too. All right. My kids are brats. All of them are. They're gonna say and do stupid things. So never, ever try to settle a kid issue as an adult. Let those kids settle those kid issues. It's a game. At the end of the day, my wife called me last weekend. She was like, man, our daughter's not playing that well, whatever. That's all relative. But I said, here's what we have to remember. It's just a game. It's a game. Does it mean something? Absolutely. Should we work hard toward it? Yeah. But we should work hard because it's the character of who we are, not because we get some outcome or a little stupid trophy or whatever. So let me say it again. Is it illegal? If it's not, turn the volume down. If it was your child or your team doing the exact same thing, but it was in your favor, if you wouldn't respond the same way, then turn the volume down. And then remember, let kids settle kid issues. They will live. They will make it. They will be better for it if we disengage and we allow them to work these things out. So real life instance from this past weekend, man, I love it. Here's what I love too, is that I really believe there's a movement. I was on the phone with a guy this morning, not even gonna say his name because he's big time. I don't want to be name dropping, but the reality of it is that I think there's a movement right now in the sports world to do it better. And I hope that you listening, that you want to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. And for us to be a part of the solution, we've got to change our perspective and we got to start doing things a little bit different. And as coaches, just a reminder, if we're coaching, we got to coach them hard, but we got to love them harder, man. They need our love. They need us to love them and discipline them and all these different things. And parents, if we really love them, we need to be their parent and not try to be their sport agent. We need to be their parent, not try to be their sport agent. Let them figure those things out. If it's in their cards, it will happen. And as a parent, no matter what they're doing, I don't care if it's the band or choir or the chess team or it's basketball, football, wrestling, boxing, you name it. I don't care what it is. When they're done with those things and they get in that car, and even though you're frustrated about certain things, turn that volume down and say these words that we say every week. Son, daughter, I love to watch you play. And the more you say it, the more they will be engaged with that play. Thanks so much for tuning in each and every week. Let's go be a part of the solution this week. Have a great week.